Hey, I'm taking you to a different place today. This is an incredibly beautiful place to hike. I've been here dozens of times and just thought you'd enjoy seeing something different. I'm approaching the trailhead of the Sabino Mountain recreation area. It's supported by the National Park Service. If you look off to your right, that's Bear Canyon, where you can hike up in there, and about 4 miles in you'll find what's called Seven Falls. Straight ahead is the Sabino Canyon, and off that direction is the Rattlesnake Trail. I'll point that out to you again here in a few moments, but I thought you'd like to see the entry to the park here. Now, the Forest Service has different fees. It's usually $5 for the day or $20 for the year. But if you're old enough, like me, you can get annual or lifetime passes, which is a pretty damn good deal. This is some of the wildlife you'll see in the canyon. Foxes and coyotes. Javelina, we've talked about those. Big old mountain lions, sometimes known as pumas or cougars, and then the bobcat. And of course, the rattlesnakes. There are other creatures up here too, like Gila monsters and tarantulas, but these are some of the common ones. And we're not going to go into the visitor center today, but we will bypass it and head out to the area where trams take people up the canyon. A little bit of the history. This road was first created in 1930 during the Great Depression. Purpose was to find a place to go from Tucson all the way up to Mount Lemmon, where the ski resorts were and the mountain cabins and so forth. Now, about 3.7 miles in, the project was abandoned. So you can walk up this entire paved way, 3.7 miles, and you'll see a turnaround at the top where it comes back down. Now the trail continues, you can hike it and go further up into the mountains. But this road, and it was created by the WPA and the Conservation Conservancy, but it was abandoned, lack of funds. And then they found another way up the mountain over towards the east, a road called the Catalina Highway that winds up with a lot of switchbacks and climbs the mountain up into the pine forest. So this road is not used for that purpose anymore. Now this road used to be, back 40, 50 years ago, you could drive all the way to the top. You can't do that anymore. It's walking traffic only, except for the park service vehicles and the trams. But in the old days, you could drive up here, pull off to the side, sit down by the creek, and have a nice picnic. Today, it's all walk or bike, except for 2 days of the week you can bike into the canyon, any of the side roads and paths. See people over there? Or up this trail. But on the days that you can bike up here, you have to be out of the canyon by 9 o'clock. All right, let's see if we can go further up this road. Look at the glut of saguaros in the distance. Absolutely gorgeous. Up here You have quiet, solitude, cooler breezes, cooler air. You can also see deep red Carolina cardinals up here. There are cardinals down in Tucson, but the real red ones, the deep red vermilion colored cardinals, can be found here in the canyon. Again, I'm going up to paved path. Off to the side are a lot of different trails. Phone Line Trail is up on the side of the mountain. Rattlesnake Trail is off in that direction. I'll show you when we get further up this road. I've gotten off the trail a bit. I'm trying to get over to that rock house up on the hill here. Let's see if I can make it. Bear with me. Getting higher up the mountain now. I can hear my breath, and up there is that stone building. We're going to check that out. Look at how beautiful. If you look at the dam down there, there's no water running over it. There's no snow melt running off yet. It's too early in the season. No big torrential rains. Up there it goes further into the canyon. On the far side over there is Bear Canyon. We're approaching that structure now. I'd have to do a little research to learn why it's up here, who built it, for what purpose, but we're going to explore it a little bit. Again, if you hike up here, particularly on even a moderately warm day like this one, you got to watch out for Gila monsters. They have a poisonous bite, and for rattlesnakes. Rattlesnakes are not going to seek you out. They don't like you. But if you step on one, or if you come up on them suddenly and surprise them, they'll have an issue. That's the road I was walking up down below. Pretty incredible, huh? This is the other side of this structure. And then down below, I recall when I first started hiking the road down below, I'd look up and see this building, that it had a window, maybe a door in it. And I know people crawled up on top of the roof and sat up there. But it looks as if they have filled it all in. It's just a solid structure now. No way in. I found the former door. So you can no longer get inside of the building as you did in the old days. You can see almost all the way down to the Huachuca Mountains. Back down to the road. We're on a mission to find water. What's odd is there is none down by the dam, and I planned to go over there and show you a good view of that, but there's no water down going over the dam, so we'll go a little further up the canyon and see if we can find some up there. Here comes the tram coming up the hill. Look at all the visitors. takes them all the way to the top. It's quite a ways downhill, but we're going down there too. Those are what the trams look like. They used to be gas powered and they give off a lot of smoke and it would stink. Ugh, it was horrible. And then they turned to electricity and kept the air up here in the mountains much cleaner. That's a trail that will take you around the mountain there into some picnic areas and down by that dam. You remember the dry dam I was showing you from up on the hill? It's down that way. Here's the sign. They call it Sabino Lake and the creek trail and the dam, but it's dry, so we're not going to go down that path today. I think that's the creek bed down there, folks. And it looks pretty dry. We'll walk on further along the trail, see if we can't come to any water. Otherwise, we'll turn around and go back. Now, a lot of the places out here, as I said, accommodated people driving their cars into the canyon up until at least the mid-1960s. And people could walk off, park their cars here in this open space, walk up onto one of those platforms, and have a picnic. And of course, they could go further down and swim in the water. As you can see, the river's looking pretty dry. Let's see what trail this is. I think it's going to be the Rattlesnake Trail. Ah, there it is. It's only 0.6 miles long. But if you want to see rattlesnakes, no, I'm just kidding. It isn't named because you see a lot of snakes in here. I don't think. At least when I've been on it, I haven't. See any mountain lions? As I was saying, people would park along this road, go down a few steps, and find a picnic table just up from the banks of the river. Those are the old days. They don't park here anymore. Another one. Years ago, and for many years since, they've had large fires way up in the mountains at the 6, 7, 8,000 foot level. They've burned homes and businesses, and within hours or a day or two, the river down here below would run black with the soot and burned timbers washing down. You can still find some of them today, but it was a stark reminder of the serious fires they've had up in the mountains here. Years ago, when they started to close this road to traffic, they started by creating this kind of large parking area here. It still had places you could go down the hill and get near the river, have a picnic. And at that time, to stop cars from going even further up the mountain, they put in this gate. Now right up here, across this parking lot between these mountain ranges, besides there being a bathroom and more places to walk off into the desert and have a picnic, they also have a water fountain over here that's incredibly important. Here's a word, by the way, about water in the desert. Don't wait until you're thirsty. Hydrate all the time. Drink, 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 drink. When you stop sweating, it's dangerous. But don't wait until then. Drink water even when you're not thirsty. Don't worry. If you're working out and you're in the heat, you're going to burn it off. You're not going to have to run to a bathroom like this. But drink water. There are people who have died on this short trail. People have been helicoptered out of here. And you just don't realize how fast dehydration creeps up on you. Now, here's the first pillar of the gate. And years ago, there was a chain that ran across it. These iron bars and a chain. And that kept cars from going any further. See the old hooks, the old irons sticking out of it? So they started by cutting off about the first, lower half, mile and a half, close to 2 miles. Cars could no longer go up this way. It does flood down here. And when the torrential rains come and it begins to flood, it's dangerous. Get out of the canyon, especially if you're in Bear Canyon. But even this one, again, we're in Sabino Canyon. There should be a bridge at the bottom of the hill here. There are maybe 7, 8 of these bridges. But as you can see, the river is dry. I've got to bring you back at another time. Hi. I stopped for a few minutes to do what I suggest you do. I'm not thirsty, but it doesn't matter. Drink water. By the way, a woman just passed me a moment ago, walking out with a little terrier dog. If the rangers had seen her, they probably would have told her not to do that. Bringing a small animal, even on a leash, up this mountain into these wild areas with bobcats and cougars especially, they'll snatch that puppy right off its leash. I'm serious. The rules are don't bring pets into the canyon for a good reason. It attracts wildlife, but it very often ends tragically in you losing a pet. I'm disappointed there's no water in the stream. If I went on up, I'd just pass a lot more of these. They're dry as a bone. When we get the first good rains, we should have had some by now. Usually the monsoons in July and August fill up these creeks. But as you've probably noticed, there's been climate change. Things are a little drier this year. Hopefully, when we get some snowfall up in the mountains, if we get snowfall up there, it'll melt off and run down into these rivulets and on down into the city. It is the desert, the Sonora Desert. It gets hot. Today is a pleasant day, but it will get hot. I got more people coming down the trail, so I'm going to turn this off, but drink water and don't bring pets up here. It's sad because I wanted you to see the water. When it floods, water runs right over the top of this bridge. You could be walking in ankle deep or even knee deep water. Rushes over through the rocks and over onto the other side. And of course you can tell how dry everything is. And out. These are raptors. You don't want to piss them off. Oop, he got something there. Beautiful creatures. If you listen carefully sometimes, you'll hear him make a guttural sound like. Again, I've seen them eat a lot of lizards and mice. They'll also eat plants, but they like a bit of meat with their diet. Choo-choo. One more thing before we leave the canyon here. Don't feed the wildlife. You don't do them any favors. They'll come back looking for you, looking for anybody that might have food for them. They begin to rely on it. They get dangerous. Don't feed the wildlife. You see a lot of deer in here too. Don't do it. They can find their own food. They can find their own water. If you give them food, it hurts them. And it's dangerous to everybody out here on the trails. Back down the mountain toward the parking lot. Another quarter mile and I should be there. Getting warm out here now. But it's been a good walk. Thanks for coming with me. Take care.